Moving on to the Big 12, the best conference in college basketball right now. Kansas, Oklahoma State played tonight. They played back on New Year's Eve. Kansas won by 2 at home. This time you're on the road against Oklahoma State. And the Jayhawks, they looked good. They looked really good. Grady Dick looked great. He has all year long. Rob Doster. Is this Kansas team, are they starting to look like what we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year as this dominant team in the Big 12?
Well, they got 26 points from Grady Dick, and they got 15 points and 8 assists from Kevin McCullough, who I think he went down with an injury late in the game. I don't know if we got to keep an eye on that one. But the issue has been it's Jalen Wilson and nobody else, right? Yeah. Where else do they get offense from? Where else do they get any kind of creation from? Where else do they get someone that can go make a shot when they need a shot, right? And tonight, DeJuan Harris didn't even play great, but when you got Grady Dick playing the way that he was playing, and you got Kevin McCullough playing the way that he's playing, and I want to put it in perspective too. They scored 87 points on the road against an Oklahoma State team that is really, really good and has been really, really good. In the Big 12, they were 7-1 this season when Moussa Cisse, the defensive player of the year, when he played. They were 0-4 when he didn't play. This was a team that entered the day in the top 4 nationally in adjusted defensive efficiency on KenPom. Like they went, and Kansas went on the road. They've been struggling, and they put up 87 points on this Oklahoma State team with their star center on the floor. Like that is a really, really impressive performance, and one that I didn't necessarily see coming. And if we're going to get that Grady Dick, and we're going to get this Kevin McCullough, then we need to have a very different conversation about what this Kansas team is going to be this year.
Is Grady Dick the National Freshman of the Year, Jeff?
Brandon Miller would argue with that, but he's second. He's the second best freshman. And the biggest thing for me over the last week or so for Kansas has been, when Jalen Wilson hasn't had his best games, they found ways to win. That's the biggest thing. We talked about it all year. It's like Jalen and what else, right? They're so limited offensively. KJ's kind of bounced back a little bit. Again, Grady's been pretty good. McCullough had a typical Kevin McCullough night tonight. And like DeJuan Harris can have one of those nights like he had tonight if everybody else is contributing. And their bench, Yesufu had 8 points tonight. The two bigs combined for 4 off the bench. At least they're getting something out of their bench. There were times where they were getting absolutely zero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, honestly, I don't look too much at the bench when it comes to what can a team do in March, right? It's mostly how good is your starting 5, and do you have pieces to fill in when somebody needs a blow, or if someone gets in foul trouble, right? We talked about Creighton. They basically play 5 guys. We talked about Providence. How deep do they really go? I don't think you necessarily need a really deep bench. You just need someone that can come in there and give you some minutes if you need those minutes. And I do think that what we've seen from Ernest Udeh and from Zuby Ejiofor, those guys are at the point now where they can get it done. And look, as much as we've talked about Kansas and as much as we said, I don't know if I trust DeJuan Harris. I don't know if Grady Dick can be that guy. I don't know this. I don't know that. Well, before going on the road and beating Oklahoma State, who was an 8 seed coming into today, who is a top 30 team on KenPom, who is one of the best teams in the Big 12, who is currently came into today a game out of first place in the loss column, Kansas was already a number 1 seed. And now they're tied for first place in the Big 12. They're 21-5. So for all the criticisms and questions that we have for losing 3 in a row and 4 out of 6 at one point this year, man, they're still pretty damn good. That's still Kansas. They're still Bill Self on that sideline. What do they need on the floor? Serious question. What do they have to do on the floor for us to be like Bill Self's on the sideline? Nah, I'm off Kansas. I'm off. I don't think that we could run out there. Megan, you could run point. You got me and Jeff on the wings. You got Dagan at the 5. And I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Dagan at the 5?
We got Dagan at the 5. And I'm pretty sure.
You have me until Dagan at the 5.
Well, here's the thing, Goodman. We can't put you at the 5 because you're soft. Okay.
Hold up. Me at the 5. Me at the 5.
Dagan's got a Philly streak in him, right?
Me at the 5. That's true. You got me at a good week.
Still crying.
You got me at a good week.
Crying from his Eagles last night.
Which, by the way, bullshit penalty call ended the game.
Thank you, Megan.
I'm with you, Megan.
Wow, Megan. Tell me how you really feel. This is a Kansas section. We're doing a Kansas segment right now, and you're sitting here and you're saying the Chiefs shouldn't have won the Super Bowl.
I am. Here you go. I got my. Right behind me.
It's still absurd that
Billy the Wildcat, who Jeff Goodman insulted earlier today.
It's still absurd that Rob put me at the 5, but I digress.
Here you go.
No, look, Bill Self plays small ball 5, so we put the smallest player we got at the 5.
I'm about to say I'm the smallest guy in this company.
How tall are you?
6 foot.
Yeah, we got a lot of tall people.
He'd be a fine 5. He'd be fine. He's he's switchable.
I mean, whatever.
He'll be okay.
I'll take it. That's
He is
fine.
switchable.
At least I'm on the court. I'll take
He
it.
may be switchable in another way soon.
Oh boy.
Oh God.
Shots fired here.
Okay.
Hey, the point being though, it's so easy for us to, get freaked out about a team like Kansas, but at the end of the day, like you mentioned, Rob, for them to go on the road against one of the top defensive teams in the Big 12 and have this kind of performance, it's going to go on to show you. Well, that's what one seeds do. That's what championship teams do. They can have that type of slip and still get back on track, and it doesn't completely derail a season.
Yeah.
Speaking
And one last note. They went on the road. They beat Oklahoma State by 11 tonight. On Saturday, they went on the road. They beat Oklahoma by 23 tonight. And the same Oklahoma team in the same building that beat Kansas State by, I think the final was like 15.
14. Yeah.
14. Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about all that is Bill Self has done this so many times before that it's just about peaking at the right time now.
100%.
Just trying to get in, right? Other guys are like, Mike Boynton's just trying to get in the tournament. John Shire's just trying to get his team right, get in the tournament. Bill Self, listen, he's not worried about that. He's worried about when he gets in, his team playing its best basketball, roles figured out by then. He was trying to figure out everything earlier in the season. How he can play, it's been an adjustment for him. Think about it. He's used to playing with 2 bigs or at least one. And now he goes where he doesn't have any. And he's got an undersized big. So it's been an adjustment. And again, to me, you never count Bill Self out. And Sean Miller said it best last year, all year. He's the best coach in the game right now. Him and Pitino.
Yeah, it's honestly insane that this group, with what they lost and who is on this roster, he's going to find a way. Like, and he just the craziest.
Can they go back to back, Rob? Can they go back to back? Do they have a legitimate shot of winning 6 straight?
If this Grady Dick, you don't even need a Grady Dick that's going to get you 26. You need Grady Dick that's going to average 14.
18.
Yeah. You need a Kevin McCullough that is a double-figure scorer that's averaging 5 or 6 assists and is playing lockdown defense, right? You need the DeJuan Harris that is playing confidently. That team, they could do it.
Even if they don't have one of those, Rob, even if one of those things doesn't happen, like DeJuan Harris tonight, he has 5 points. If the other things all happen, they can win every game. Now, again, it's when 2 or 3 of those things don't happen that they just can't score enough points.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the concern with them. Yeah. But in a year where there is nobody that you're necessarily afraid of, this goes for everybody in college basketball. I made this point the other day with Creighton, right? There's nobody in the sport that you're afraid of. There's no team that is like head and shoulders above everyone else. I know that the metrics are kind of saying that a little bit with Houston. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that Houston is able to run up the score a little bit more in some of these games in their conference than some of these other teams are. There's nobody that's head and shoulders above the rest of America. There's no 2021 Baylor. There's no 2018 Villanova. There's no 2009 North Carolina. There's no 2012 Kentucky this year. There's no 2015 Kentucky. There's a bunch of good teams, a bunch of old teams, a bunch of teams that have 23 and 24-year-olds. And Kansas got a bunch of old guys that can go make some plays. They can do it as well as anybody this year.